Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Julie Mann. I am a professional network marketer, an actor, and I'm also an EFT practitioner. And today I'm joined by the lovely coach, Melissa Golas. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, good. How are you?
Good.
Firstly, I've just got to acknowledge the fact that it's 5:30 in the morning for you, isn't it?
Yes, I'm over on the East Coast in the US, so it's nice and early.
Yeah, and I know actually that's a normal occurrence because you're so passionate about your coaching practice that you're building it up around a full-time job, which I think is absolutely amazing. So, I imagine that after a full day working, where you do, all you want to do really is come home and, put your feet up, maybe have a little bit of a lie down. So, what is it that drives you, Melissa?
Yeah, certainly. I think it's having kind of that end goal in sight and really enjoying what you're doing, right? And really seeing the value in what you're doing. So I think once you have, I always say you need the strongest why behind anything you're doing, whether it's literally just getting up in the morning to start your day or whatever it is, and knowing why you're doing it, right? So for me, it doesn't feel like a lot of work when I'm in that coaching zone. Of course, is because you have to show up and keep doing it, and it takes energy, but it's the fun kind of energy, right? So it's the draining where it's not the blah on top of it. So it's easier to kind of get up and do it. But I won't lie, if it's a task that takes more of my brain power and I need to be really focused, I'm doing that in the morning before work. Because after work, we're going to do the things that I can kind of almost do on autopilot.
Smart, yeah. So I know that your day job, if you like, is in human resources, isn't it? So was
Mm-hmm.
it working in human resources that you discovered your talents as a coach?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started out as an accounting major in college and quickly found like that was not going to be where I wanted to pigeonhole myself. So I switched over to business administration and was kind of just exploring out there of what the options were. And I landed in HR as my first corporate role and quickly was promoted a couple of times there. And I got an exposure to working with people on so many different issues and so many different areas. And the time that I really enjoy is spending it with people and kind of helping them see things in a different way and how they can approach their work in a different way where they don't feel so impacted by everything. They let a lot of things weigh on their shoulders or they feel very confused and lost. So I really enjoyed that. But the problem in the corporate world is you can only dig so deep with people and you can only get so much and say so much to them, right? Because I am still representing the company. So it's finding that area where you can kind of do that engagement. So I was getting frustrated that I couldn't do more and I couldn't dig deeper and I couldn't change more for these people outside of just their work life when I can see the tidbits that are going into their personal life too.
Brilliant. I saw actually that on your website you've got this quote. It says, helping you break through mind drama to live an international life. So what do you mean by mind drama?
Yeah, so it's the things that we will spin out in all the time, right? Like we spend our time just worrying about so much. So it's the things like, and a lot of people don't even realize that they're doing it, but the self-judgment and the criticism that we spend on ourselves and that will put ourselves down so much. It's the anxiety and worry that we have or the stress that we have that in this society and the way that things are formatted now just become so normal to people. They don't even see it as a problem and they don't really realize that they can step away from that and it's not necessary to have in their life and their life doesn't have to feel that weighty. I always say it's like putting on a weighted vest all of the time and walking around with it. And when you learn you can take it off, you have so many other options. You can move in so many different ways.
Such a great way of looking at it. So how old were you, Melissa, when you experienced your first mind drama? Can you tell us about that?
Oh, I don't remember a time when I didn't have it. I was an extremely anxious child. So I grew up with anxiety. So I know where people are coming from. And kind of through my anxiety and all of that stuff, I became one of those high achievers that did everything right. You know, I got the straight A's. I did everything I was supposed to. I didn't break rules. I didn't ever want to get in trouble because I didn't want kind of that spotlight. So I saw, and every time I reflect back on some of those things, how limiting it can be, right? How much it prevents you from kind of showing up in your life and doing the things that you're doing. And it doesn't feel good. All the things that you're doing kind of for someone else or because of something else, right? So I really connect with people on that level and know that, all of that you're creating for yourself, but you don't know how to get out of it. You just know that this is it and this is what your brain does.
Absolutely, yeah. So you also say that managing your mind is the quickest way to live the life of your dreams. So how would someone begin to manage their mind?
Yeah, awareness is the first step, right? So we spend a lot of our time resisting so much of our mind and resisting so much that's going on. And just like I said, pretending some of those things are normal in our life and just kind of powering through it, right? And so that's the real reason I think people have a hard time reaching their goals, because we perpetuate this idea that instead of getting to the root cause of why you're having some of that tension and struggle with yourself, we just kind of try to force ourselves and push through. It's like, okay, I know you don't really want to get up and run or go work out if you're trying to lose weight, but just force yourself to do it each morning. And then what happens is you get so bear down by that, and it eventually catches up with you that you stop, right? You eventually are going to not have that motivation behind it. And you're going to say, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just going to stop doing it, right? Because we haven't taken care of the most important part of ourselves, which is our mind that's driving absolutely everything. So we really have to get in touch with the fact that awareness around our thoughts are going to be the beginning of everything. It's going to be what drives your actions and the energy behind them.
Absolutely. And I know for myself that when I change the way I think, that changes my behavior, it changes my actions, and that, of course, transforms my life. And I also know that it's those little steps, isn't it, that we take every
Mhm.
single day, and that willingness to do that that makes a difference. But of course, human beings are renowned for not being able to really do anything consistently. I mean, it's coming up to January. You only have to look at, what happens when people sign up for the gym. They sign up, they're really excited, and then by February, they're like, I'm done.
Yeah.
So when it comes to change, Melissa, what is, in your opinion, what's the bottom line?
Yeah, meet yourself where you are, right? So if you aren't ever used to doing something or you're trying to make a major change, that can be your end goal. And that's great that you have that vision of where you're going. But just keeping with the workout example, because we are around that time of year, right? That a lot of people are thinking about this. If you don't work out at all, don't jump to trying to work out an hour every day, right? Instead, literally start with something small, 10 minutes a day, literally 10 minutes a day. That's it. Because what that does is it helps build up your trust within yourself and that consistency. So once you can reach that, then you can increase a little bit. But what happens is we try to make that big jump, and then it's hard for our brains. It's hard for you because you haven't done it. So just meet yourself where you are and make those small steps, because that small step of 10 minutes a day that can build up into a long, consistent thing that you do is going to be much better than working out an hour a day for 2 weeks and then never going back to it.
Brilliant. Yeah. So I know that you specifically help people end anxiety and doubts. That's what you specialize in. Have you got any concrete examples of some of the results that people have had working with you?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's different for everybody, right? Because anxiety is going to affect us all differently and we're all individuals. But some of the things that I've helped people do is just kind of with their everyday life, right? This isn't something that has to be big or major in that there's something majorly going wrong in your life. It's just feeling anxious and you're not sure why. I work with a lot of people who have that anxiousness in the morning and they're kind of fix all, which works for some people, is just to take medication, but then it doesn't help completely because they don't have that other component of helping manage their mind. So for some people, it's, I don't want to touch the medication again, or I still want to take it, but feel better. So I've worked with some people to be able to completely step away from that route of kind of using that and feeling like they can't even operate in their house. So I worked with one individual. They had 5 kids and a few animals and worked every day, right? And for them, their major trigger points were having to go to work. On their way into work was very anxious for them. And then when they got home from work, just their environment being so loud and just having things going on, things like the cat running up and down the hallway would send them into a tailwind because they were already worked up to a point. So we worked it to a point where he can just exist in this household and not feel like he is crawling out of his skin. He wants to get out of there. He can't enjoy and be present with them. So I help being present in your life and not feeling like you have to escape from it.
Wow, brilliant. I mean, that's huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I noticed that in the background you've got Keep Dreaming, which I absolutely love. So what is your dream, Melissa?
Yeah, my dream is just to keep doing this work and share with as many people as I possibly can. And this becomes my, my full time. We talked about how I'm working still in my corporate job. And that's been a lot of an identity shift for me. Like I said, I always followed the rules and the guidelines and what society told you to do. So for me to say, okay, I'm going to start my own business and do these things is way out of the norm for me. And I just want other people to realize that they have this opportunity too, and that they don't have to suffer. Because I think a lot of my life, I didn't know there was another side. I didn't know there was things that could help you make you feel better, and you could really do whatever you wanted and just have kind of a whole new life that doesn't feel like crap all the time.
Amazing, yeah. So how would people find out about you?
Yeah, so I'm pretty easy to find. Everything's under my name, Melissa Golas. So I have a website, melissagolas.com. I have a Facebook group. I've actually just started a self-love and confidence challenge with my people inside of there for this week as we're approaching the new year. So growing self-love is the name of that, but I'm pretty easy to find all over the place.
Fantastic. So any final words, Melissa, before we go?
Yeah, just know that whatever you're doing in life, there is no set of rules. And I think that's the biggest game changer for a lot of people to realize there really is no true right or wrong. There is no rule book you can actually pull out and look it up. So write your own and just kind of explore what you want that to look like.
I absolutely love that. Melissa Golas, thank you so very much for talking to me.
Thank you so much for having me.